हॅलो BSc पार्ट 2 स्टुडंट्स, फिजिक्स स्टुडंट्स. ज्यावेळी तुम्ही शिवराज कॉलेजमध्ये ॲडमिशन घेतला BSc कोर्ससाठी, BSc कोर्समध्ये एकूण 6 सेमिस्टर तुम्हाला शिकायचे आहेत. सेमिस्टर 1 अँड 2 की ज्याच्यामध्ये सेमिस्टर 1मध्ये 2 पेपर शिकला फिजिक्सचे, सेमिस्टर 2मध्ये 2 पेपर शिकला, टोटल 4 पेपर शिकला. 1-2 सेमिस्टर 1मध्ये, 3-4 सेमिस्टर 2मध्ये शिकला. आणि BSc पार्ट 2मध्ये तुम्ही प्रमोटेड झाला, पास झाला. या कोविडमध्ये सेमिस्टर मला वाटतं 1 प्रमोटेड केलं गेलं. सेमिस्टर 2मध्ये तुमची ऑनलाईन एक्झाम झाली MCQ टाईप. आणि आता तुम्ही सेमिस्टर 4मध्ये एंट्री केलेली आहे. सेमिस्टर 3मध्ये सुद्धा तुम्ही 2 पेपर शिकला, दॅट इज 5th अँड 6th पेपर. अँड नाव सेमिस्टर 4मध्ये तुम्हाला 2 पेपर फिजिक्सचे परत शिकायचे आहेत, पेपर नंबर 7 आणि पेपर नंबर 8. मायसेल्फ डॉक्टर SM कदम, HOD of Physics Department. Also, I am working as a principal in this college. I am going to deliver a paper number 8, semester 4th. You have to study the again 2 papers, paper number 7 and the paper number 8, 2 papers. So I am going to take the paper number 8, and the name of the paper is Waves and Optics, Optics 2. Today we will discuss only the syllabus, what we have to study in this paper. So there are 2 units. Every paper there are 2 units, and each unit there are subtopics also. So here is also the 2 units. In the unit number 1, what we have to study is here in this paper, unit 1 here, the chapter number 1 that we have to study the cardinal points. Cardinal points. So what we have to study in this paper? So in this paper we have to study the cardinal points of an optical system. So what is the optical system? The optical system consists of the 2 thin lenses. If suppose this is one thin lens, thin in the sense this is the thin lens, thin in the sense that the thickness of this lens is very small. Thickness is very small here. This thickness is very small here. And when optical system is the system which consists of 2 thin lenses or more, 2 thin lenses of the more thin lenses. This is L1, this is L2, or it may be consist of L3 and so on. We will consider the 2 thin lenses and separated by the finite distance. It is separated by the finite distance, that is the D here. Then such a system is known as optical system. If we can use only the one thin lens here, if we can use here only the one thin lens, and there is a axis, principal axis. Principal axis is the axis which divides the optical system into 2 equal parts, is known as the principal axis, or simply axis. It is known as the axis. And if suppose here the object is placed at this position, here is nothing but O, that is the object. So you are getting the image somewhere here like this. So suppose this is what here the image. Now we have to calculate the distance of the object from the lens. So this much distance. So we can measure this distance from here to here. It is easily determine this distance, that is, you suppose the distance of the image from the lens, this is nothing but V. Suppose here this is V. This distance can be measured very easily, because here we can measure the distance from here or here, from here to here or here to here. The thickness is very small and that can be neglected. But in case of the thin lenses, or in case of the thick lens, if suppose this is the very thin lens, thickness is very small, this is thin lens. If we can consider the thick lens, like this. If suppose we can consider the thick lens like this here, and the principal axis is here, the object is placed somewhere like this, and you are getting the image here somewhere, that is eye, here is nothing but object. Now the problem arises, we cannot neglect the thickness of this thick lens. This is the thick lens. In case of the thick lens, the thickness is very large here, and we cannot neglect while determining the object, distance of the object from the lens or the thick lens or the distance of the image is very difficult. So to measure the distance of the object or the distance of the image and so many parameters related to the system, the method is tedious and difficult. So this distance, to measure the distance of the object from the thick lens or the distance of the image from the thick lens, the method is very tedious, complicated, and we cannot neglect the thickness. But in this case, this is easy. Then particularly here, to arrive at a simple method to determine the distance of the object and the image from this thick lens. The thick lens is also known as optical system, or when the two thin lenses are separated by the finite distance, this is also called as what here? The optical system. This can be regarded as the optical system, and when we are dealing with the optical system here, optical system may be given by the two thin lenses separated by finite distance, or this thick lens can be regarded as the optical system, or this can be regarded as the optical system. Whenever we are dealing with the optical system, the problem arises to measure the distance of the image from the optical system. The method is very tedious and difficult, and to arrive at the simplest way, the Gauss, the scientist Gauss here defined the concept of the cardinal points. So for the optical system, there are 6 cardinal points. This is first, 2 focal points. 2 focal points, 2 focal points, 2 principal points, 2 principal points here, principal points, and third there is nothing but 2 nodal points. 2 what here? The 2 nodal points. 2 nodal points here. So there are 3 pairs of the cardinal points, 2 focal points, F1, F2. Here is nothing but F1, F2. We can designate it as F1, F2, these points. This is principal points H1, H2, H1, H2, and the 2 nodal points, that is represented as N1, N2 here. So, in all, 2, 2, 2, you are getting 6 cardinal points, or 3 pairs, or what here? 3 pairs of the cardinal points. So we will see in this chapter number 1 here the definitions of these cardinal points. So in this, the first we will see the definitions only. There are 6 cardinal points for an optical system, which is defined by the scientist Gauss in case of the optical system, and that we have to see the definition of that. In addition to that, what we have to study is here the another point that we have to study, the geometrical construction. Geometrical construction of image. Geometrical construction of image. Construction of image. What is the geometrical construction of image? So, if this is the optical system which is separated by the 2 thin lenses, or it may be thick lens. Thick lens means we will consider like this. From this to this, we will consider this is the thick lens or the 2 thin lenses. This is the principal axis. The axis which divides the optical system into 2 equal parts is known as axis. If the object is placed here, how to find it? Where is image is obtained to the other side? Here, here, here. That we have to construct. The simple method we have to study here. So on the basis of the definition or the concept of the cardinal points, the image of any object placed on the axis can be constructed. How it can be constructed, we will see in the details in this article, geometrical construction. And the extension part of the geometrical construction in this uh, theory is we have to determine here the Newton's formula. There is one Newton's formula. What is that Newton's formula? Also we will derive in this article. Newton's formula. So we will particularly see in this article geometrical construction of the image. Also we will see the Newton's formula. Then we will see here the sign conventions. This is very important. So before seeing the geometrical construction, before that we will see the sign convention. This is because here the optics is the branch of physics which deals with the study of the light rays here. And optics can be divided into two groups, geometrical optics and the physical optics. In case of the geometrical optics, the cardinal points, this articles comes, and the remaining chapters that we have to study in optics, that we are going to study in the discussion of the syllabus here, that includes in the what here, the physical optics. So for the geometrical optics, we must have the sign convention. So in this article, first of all, before starting this, we will see what are the sign conventions, then we will see geometrical construction, then we will see the Newton's formula, then we will also see in this article relationship between the equivalent focal length of the two systems, that is F and F dash. Here this is one optical system, you are given the other optical system. The equivalent focal length of this one system is F say. If we consider here the another optical system, in this case the F dash is nothing but what here, the equivalent focal length of the other system. The combination of the two optical systems, if we can taken into consideration, then what will be the relationship between what here, F and F dash. This is that we have to determine in this chapter. And lastly we will see the relationship between here three magnifications: lateral magnification, axial magnification, and the angular magnification. So we have to see the three definitions: what is meant by axial magnification, lateral magnification, and the angular magnification, and we have to find out the relation between them. So this is that much portion is we have to study in the chapter number 1, that is cardinal points. The another chapter here is nothing but, so unit number 1 consists of 3 chapters. This is one chapter, cardinal points. Then we will see the other chapter, that is the chapter number 2 is nothing but here the resolving power of an optical system, resolving power of optical instrument, resolving power. So what is meant by resolving power? So in order to see the definition, if suppose here there are two objects, fine objects, this is one object, this is the other object, and the angle made by these objects at our eye, this is at our eye. If suppose here is our eye, here at our eye, if this is angle suppose theta, if this theta is less than, it is the less than the 1 minute, I say 1 minute. Here we are getting the two fine objects or the two object point objects, and the angle made by subtended by these 2 point objects at our eye is theta. If this theta is less than the 1 minute here, and if theta is greater than the 1 minute, what will happen? Greater than the 1 minute. When theta is greater than the 1 minute, angle subtended by the two objects at our eye is greater than the 1 minute, these two object points can be seen separately. We can see can be seen separately. By naked eye, separately here. So when the angle subtended by the two objects at our eye is greater than the 1 minute, these 2 point objects can be seen separately by means of our eye. If the angle is less than the 1 minute, what will happen is that these 2 point objects appear as a single object. The 2 points objects appear as single object. appear as a single object. We cannot see object. We cannot see these objects as a separate object. These appear at our eye. These are separate, but our eye appears these two objects as a single object. Now, in order to hear, such objects can be seen separately by means of the optical instrument, and the method of producing the separate images of two closed object is known as the resolution. And the ability of optical instrument to see the closed object separately is known as the resolving power of that optical instrument. So we will see what are the conditions for the resolutions, what is the difference between the resolution and the magnification. We will also see the modified. It is given, the condition is given by the Rayleigh, scientist Rayleigh. So what is the Rayleigh's criterion, that we have to see in the chapter also, and we will determine the resolving power of prism, the expression for resolving power of prism. Very simple expression, prism, and the resolving, this is one, and this is another derivation that we have to study, resolving power of grating. So we will see in this article this much. Very simple portion and very interesting portion, the resolving power. This is the chapter 2. So in the chapter 2, what we have to see, Rayleigh's criterion for resolution, modified Rayleigh's criterion, the resolving power of prism, resolving power of the grating, and the introductory part, resolution and the magnification. What is the difference between the resolution and the magnification? So in this chapter, we will learn about these events or the points. And the third chapter is nothing but, in this case, polarization. So in this unit number 1, we are going to study the 3 chapters. The first, cardinal points; second, resolving power of an optical system; and the third is nothing but polarization. What is the polarization phenomenon? When the light, ordinary light coming from tube or coming from bulb is not polarized light, it is unpolarized light, or it is called as the natural light. So if suppose this is the light coming from the bulb or the tube, it is unpolarized light. What here? This is unpolarized light. This is unpolarized light. When this unpolarized light here is false, unpolarized false on certain crystals. Very interesting. For example, if this is the crystal, like quartz or the calcite, here the quartz here, or calcite, typical crystals occurs in the nature, quartz and the calcite. Here the unpolarized light, and this unpolarized light is represented by, it consists of the vibrations in all possible directions. Like this direction, parallel to the parallel to the ground, and this is the perpendicular to the ground, means it is represented by line and dot together. It consists of the vibration in all possible directions. Natural light consists of the vibrations in all possible directions, like this here. So it can be represented by the light sheet. So this is unpolarized light, or simplicity it is represented by line and dot together on the direction of propagation of light. If suppose this is the light, and on the direction of propagation of light it is represented by line and dot, then this is definitely the unpolarized light. Remember that here. So the natural light, or the light coming from this bulb or the tube, are natural light, and natural light is always unpolarized light. When unpolarized light is incident here, and it consists of the vibrations. The vibrations of the light consist of, if suppose this is the ground, if parallel to the ground, it is represented by the light, or like this, and if here ground, the vibrations are parallel to the ground, then it is represented by the light, and if it is perpendicular, vibrations are perpendicular to the ground, it is represented by a dot. So it consists of both the vibrations. Unpolarized light consists of parallel as well as perpendicular vibrations here, and it is represented by line and dot together. When such a light falls on some typical crystals like quartz or the calcite, it is seen that light coming out from this crystal has vibrations lies only one direction. If suppose I will like this, so the vibrations are perpendicular to the what here? The vibrations, all vibrations lies to this plane, perpendicular to the what here? The ground. Only vibration. All other vibrations are not observed. The phenomenon of the light heaving the vibrations along only one plane is known as the polarization. It is known as polarization. Ordinary light here consists of the vibration in all possible directions. If the light has vibrations lies along only one plane, it is lying along only what here? This plane. Then it is called as, or if suppose, or the light coming out from has the vibration only these vibrations, not perpendicular. If the line had got these vibrations are separate. The vibrations of this light lies only this plane. The vibrations of this light, if suppose, then it will lies in this only plane. Other vibrations are cut off. So if the phenomenon of the light having the vibrations lies along only one plane is called as the polarization. The ordinary light, the light coming from bulb or the tube is known as ordinary light or the natural light. Natural light or the unpolarized light can be polarized by means of many methods. The first is nothing but here, by the method of reflection. By the method of reflection, the given light can be polarized. By the second method is, the given unpolarized light can be polarized by means of many methods. The first is polarization by reflection. Other is polarization by refraction. Polarization by refraction. And thirdly, the polarization by double reflection. By what here? The double reflection. So in this year we will see the details of here in this article. We will see the how the light can be polarized. So what is the phenomenon of double refraction that we have to study in this year. So the unpolarized light can be polarized by means of the phenomenon of double refraction. So in this article we will see what is meant by double refraction. Next chapter we will see here the Nicol prism. Nicol prism. What is meant by Nicol prism? And Nicol prism is one of the device. Nicol prism is one of the device. When unpolarized light is incident on this Nicol prism, this is unpolarized light. Unpolarized light is incident. The light coming off this is always plane polarized, or it is polarized light we are getting. What is polarized light we are getting? So how this Nicol prism can be constructed? What is the working of the Nicol prism that we have to study in this article? So the what is meant by double refraction? How the Nicol prism is produced? That we have to see. Also we have to see the types of polarized light. Types of polarization. Types of polarization. Plane polarized light. Plane polarized light. Elliptically polarized light. Elliptically polarized light. Elliptically polarized light. And circularly polarized light. So there are three types. Circularly polarized light. So how these different types of polarized lights, plane polarized, circularly polarized can be produced, that we have to see. Also we have to see the given light is whether plane or elliptical or circularly or unpolarized light, that also we can detect. How it can be detected and which instruments can be used to detect and produce the polarized light, that we have to study in this topic, that is the polarization. So this is the unit number 1. In unit number 1 there are 3 chapters that we are going to study: cardinal points, resolving power and the polarization. And now the unit number 2 consists of the 2 chapters. Here the another is nothing but here. Now unit number 2, what we have to going to study is here the chapter number 1. There are 2 chapters. The one is nothing but interference. So what is meant by interference? When the two light rays, suppose this is one light ray and this is another light ray, here second light ray comes at this point simultaneously here. So whatever happening here is nothing but interference. So what will happen here? The interference is nothing but this. It is well established that the ray of light can be considered as a wave. This can be considered as a wave. This can be considered as a wave. This is nothing but the amplitude of the wave. Maximum displacement of the particle from this mean position is known as amplitude of the wave. As far as wave is concerned, there will be time period, there will be amplitude, there will be what here, the frequency, there will be wavelength. So all these parameters and how they are related, you are already familiar with that here. And this is, so this is the ray can be regarded as wave, this is the can be regarded as a wave. So when these two rays comes at this point simultaneously here, here as a resultant of this, whatever happening here is known as interference, and you are getting the new wave. It may be like this, small or big, depending on how the waves are arriving at this point here, at this point. So interference is the phenomenon of cancellation of the amplitude takes place or enhancement of the amplitude takes place. Both will happen here. Cancellation of the amplitude means that here at this point here, if the two waves arriving at this point like this, one wave is arriving like this, this is the one wave arriving like this, and the other wave is arriving like this, opposite to this here. This wave arrives amplitude to this positive side, wave number 2 amplitude falls at this point over the reverse wave, then the cancellation of the amplitude takes place here. So interference is the phenomenon of cancellation of the amplitude of the two waves or enhancement. Enhancement in the sense that here this is the wave, it will comes like this position, and the other wave also falls like this. Means maximum of one wave, maximum amplitude of the one wave falls where maximum amplitude of the other wave. Here this is wave number 1, wave number 2. Then enhancement takes place. Here enhancement takes place, and here cancellation of the amplitude takes place. Cancellation of the amplitude takes place, and so on. When the two waves arrive, whatever happening, interference is the phenomenon of cancellation of the amplitude or the enhancement of the amplitude of the two waves due to superposition. Due to superposition of the two waves takes place is known as what here? The interference. So what is the superposition? How this can be amplitude can be explained. So these waves are superimposed to wave. So what is meant by superimposition or superposition theorem, that we are going to study here. And so you have to remember that we have considered these two waves arriving at a point. If suppose here we can use the one source of the light, that is S1, 40 watt. Here is also we can use here the other source, that is S2, that is also the 40 watt. Here the same wattage bulb, two bulbs are used, and we have arranged the system such that the rays are arriving at this point. Somehow we have arriving these two waves simultaneously at this point, and we have to study the interference. This is not the fact, because here these sources or the ray of light or this S1 and S2 are the sources which we have produced by the separate two bulbs. These are not current. You are not getting the interference. So what will be the condition of the sources S1 and S2, that we have to study. That is nothing but current sources. You have to remember that the 40 watt one bulb, other bulb of 40 watt, these rays coming from the two same wattage bulb is not current source. So current source is one that can be derived by some means. If suppose this is the source of light, this is one source of the light here, and we have to arrange some system here in such a way that we have to arrange the system such a way that the two virtual, one source here and the other, this is particularly like this we will say here, and we are getting the another source here. This is S1 and the virtual source, that is S2. These two sources must be derived from the single source, or like this. This is original source. Here we have to see the images of this S1 and S2. This is S1 and this is S2. This is original source. We have to consider this. We have to consider derive the two sources in such a way that two sources are required. How this can be derived? This can be derived by means of the single source, by means of here the some device, what we call as Lloyd's mirror. It is called as Lloyd's, the name of the sign is Lloyd's mirror. Here, when the ray incident here, you are getting like these images here, the two images, and there are many methods to derive the current sources from the single source. From the single source, we have derived the two sources by means of many method. Here is nothing but the Lloyd's mirror we are going to use, and this we have to study in details, and how this experiment is used to determine the wavelength of this monochromatic source. Monochromatic source is used. What is monochromatic? If the source contains the single wavelength, it is known as monochromatic source. If the source uses many wavelength, then that can be regarded as polychromatic source. For example, in the straight line, you are getting the yellow bulb on the straight line. That yellow bulb may be the monochromatic source which emits the yellow line, only one line, that is the wavelength 1. And the white light you are also see in the straight line, that is polychromatic source. It consists of all the wavelength that can be visible to our eye, that is ranging from violet to the red. When all these wavelengths are mixed, white background is seen. That white background can be we can separate by means of prism. You are getting the spectrum. So all the mixed wavelength can also be separate. So this is the beauty of the optics that you have to might be studied in the BSc part 1 and so on here. So in this case, interference, we will see what is the phenomenon of interference, what is the superposition theorem, what are the current sources needed, or it means the condition to produce the interference that we have to learn, and we have to study the Lloyd's mirror segment. In this case, we have determined the wavelength of monochromatic source, and also we have to see here the thin wedge film shape here. If suppose the two plates are placed here and thickness of this is uniform here, the thickness is uniform. If one of the plate is slightly tilted, this is wedge shaped air thin film is formed, and if light is incident here and this is reflected back, light is incident here and it is reflected back, it is light incident here, it is reflected back from this position here, and here whatever you are getting is nothing but the interference pattern you are getting, and how the interference in this thin wedge film is formed, that we have to going to study. And also we have to going to study the Newton's ring. Newton's rings means, suppose here is one glass plate is used or the mirror is used on which plano-convex lens is placed here. So thin wedge shaped film on both the sides here is formed. Here this is plano-convex lens. When light is incident, parallel light is incident here, then this is again falls here, reflected back. So reflected we are getting like this, and here we are getting what here, the fringes, that here fringes we are getting circular fringes with central dark fringe. You are getting like this, circular fringes will be visible in the eye. So these are interference pattern in case of the Newton's rings are getting, and in this case you are getting the fringes nearly about straight fringes or slightly curved fringes are getting in this case we can see. So we will see the details of interference pattern in Lloyd's mirror, in thin wedge field, and the Newton's ring. So because Newton's discovered this, therefore it is named as Newton's ring. So interference pattern that we will going to learn here, and from this experiment we will also determine the radius of curvature here. If this is drawn here, what will be the radius of the plano-convex lens, that we have to also calculate. Also we will determine the refractive index of the also the material of that plano-convex lens. So that much we have to see in the interference. And last topic, that is the diffraction of light here. So whatever we have studied in BSc part 2 is we are going to discuss here, and chapter 2 in this case. So total 5 chapters. Chapter 3 in unit 1, chapter 2 in this diffraction. So next we will see the phenomenon of the diffraction here. In this case, what is the phenomenon of the diffraction? When the opaque obstacle is placed, if suppose this is the light, if light is incident here, source of light here, the fine pencil beam can be obtained by means of using this slit, air slit suppose, and here is nothing but screen here. Then generally what we expect is that If I stand here and focus some light on me, my shadow is expected on the what here screen. If suppose here likewise, if the opaque obstacle is placed here, opaque obstacle means not transparent, is placed here, what we are getting is here, suppose the light is incident here also, light is suppose like this, we can suppose not here, and the light is incident here. What we expect is that the geometrical shadow, this is nothing but here, the geometrical shadow, geometrical shadow of obstacle is expected. Geometrical shadow is expected on the screen. This is screen. Suppose if this opaque obstacle, this is opaque obstacle is placed, opaque, not transparent, opaque obstacle, like the pin is placed in the path of light, we are getting geometrical shadow of this obstacle, and above this we are getting here the illuminated portion, the bright portion we are getting, illuminated portion is obtained above this, and below this geometrical shadow is expected. But it is seen that if the dimensions of this obstacle is small, how much small? It is comparable to the wavelength of the light. Here the wavelength of the light, the dimensions is very small as compared to the wavelength of the light. Then it is seen that this light here does not go straight like this, and in the geometrical shadow this light bends, and some intensity of light is observed here in the geometrical shadow. Here the bending phenomenon of the light at the edge of an obstacle is known as diffraction, and when it is possible, when the dimensions of the obstacle is comparable to the wavelength of the light, then we are only possible this phenomenon, and it is known as the diffraction. The bending phenomenon of the light at the edge of an obstacle, bending phenomenon of the light, here light bends at this position, therefore it is called as diffraction. Or encroachment of the light, the phenomenon of the encroachment of the light in the geometrical shadow is known as the diffraction. The diffraction, there are two types of the diffraction that we have to study. Fraunhofer diffraction, Fraunhofer diffraction, one, and the other is nothing but the Fresnel diffraction. The diffraction can be explained by means of the division of amplitude or by means of division of wavefront here. So there are two types, Fraunhofer and Fresnel, depending on the source are at infinity. If both are at finite distance, it is known as Fraunhofer diffraction. Both are, screen and source are at infinite distance, it is known as Fresnel diffractions. And in both the cases, in this case we have to use the zone theory, how the Fresnel explain this diffraction phenomena, that we have to study here. Also the Fraunhofer diffraction we also see. So the two phenomena or the types of the diffraction that we have to learn in case of what here, the diffraction. So this is regarding 5 chapters that we have to going to learn in case of waves and optics, that is paper number 8 here. I will send the PDF of syllabus. तुम्हाला PDF ऑफ सिलेबसचा मी तुम्हाला पाठवणार आहे. मुलांना तुम्ही नोटबुक घाला आणि ती PDF पहिल्या पेजवर पेपरचं नाव वगैरे लिहा आणि तो सिलेबस वगैरे लिहून घ्या. आणि नेक्स्ट लेक्चरपासून मी तुम्हाला असेच व्हिडिओ पाठवणार आहे आणि ते व्हिडिओ तुम्ही ऐकायचं. जर नाही समजलं तर रिपीटेडली ऐका आणि त्याचे PDF नोट्ससुद्धा पाठवणार आहे. त्या नोट्स तुमच्या वहीमध्ये लिहून घ्यायच्या आहेत आणि त्या नोट्समध्ये तुम्हाला सुद्धा सगळ्या टाईपचे ऑब्जेक्टिव्ह तुम्हाला मिळतील. प्रत्येक चॅप्टर झाला की तुम्हाला ऑब्जेक्टिव्ह क्वेश्चनसुद्धा मी सेंड करणार आहे. तो तुम्ही व्यवस्थित सोडवायचा आहे. कुणाला जर काही नाही समजलं तर माझ्याशी कॉन्टॅक्ट करा आणि मी तुम्हाला सगळे एक्सप्लेन करेन. कदाचित आपण होप्स हो की हे लॉकडाऊन मला वाटतं कदाचित एक 15 दिवसामध्ये संपल असं एक माझी आशा आहे. कारण जवळजवळ मुंबई पुण्यासारख्या ठिकाणी जास्त होतं ते आता फार कमी झालेलं आहे. आपल्या इकडं जरा कोल्हापूर जिल्ह्यामध्ये ग्रामीण भागामध्ये वाढलेलं आहे. ते सुद्धा कमी होईल ह्या 15 दिवसामध्ये असं मला वाटतं. आणि ते झाल्यानंतर ऑफलाईन झालं की तुम्हाला प्रॅक्टिकलसुद्धा सुरू करण्यात येईल. जर तशीच प्रॅक्टिकल नाही झालं तर तुमचं व्हर्च्युअल लॅबसुद्धा सुरू करा असं वरून आदेश आलेले आहेत आणि ते कसे घ्यायचे हे सुद्धा मी तुम्हाला त्यावेळी सांगत जाईल. आणि असंच तुम्ही नेहमी कॉन्टॅक्ट राहा, तुम्ही घरी राहा, सुरक्षित राहा, अभ्यास करा आणि चांगले मार्क्स मिळवा आणि चांगलं करिअर घडवा. ओके, थँक्यू व्हेरी मच.